Imagine trying to update your entire professional skill set, maybe every couple of years, just to keep pace with technology. I mean, it feels relentless, right?
It really does. New tech, new industries popping up almost daily, and the traditional ways of learning, those long degree programs, they often struggle to keep up.
Exactly. So how do whole countries stay competitive? And what's really fascinating, how does a place like South Korea, which really values those traditional academic paths, embrace something so rapid, so flexible? That's the paradox we're diving into.
It's a huge challenge, yeah. And South Korea's approach, well, it's pretty revolutionary, actually. We're looking at their
Mm.
solution, microcredentials,
Mhm.
specifically in STEM fields, science, technology, engineering, maths.
Right. You probably heard the term micro-credentials, but Korea's story here, it offers some really profound lessons, I think.
Definitely. Our goal today is basically to give you a shortcut, a way to get well informed on this global trend. We'll unpack how these microcredentials are reshaping workforce development there.
We'll look at government programs, industry initiatives, what's working well.
And also be honest about the challenges, what still needs figuring out.
And to help us make sense of it all, we're using a framework, TOEX.
That's right, TOEX. It stands for Technology, Organization, Environment, but we've enhanced it by adding institutional and signaling theories.
Okay, so it's not just some fancy acronym.
No, not at all. It's a really useful lens. It helps us see not just what's happening, but why it's happening and why it matters. You get those aha moments.
Perfect. So by the end of this deep dive, you listening should have a really clear picture of how South Korea is tackling the future of work and learning. And the insights, well, they could impact education and careers way beyond Korea.
Let's hope so.
Okay, so let's start with the basics, just to make sure we're all on the same page. We know traditional degrees are important, foundational even, but how exactly are micro-credentials becoming these nimble skill upgrades for fields like AI that change so fast?
That's a great way to put it. Nimble skill upgrades. Think of them as really specific short-term programs. They're
Yeah.
designed to build very particular job competencies.
Like laser-focused training.
Exactly. Like specialized building blocks for your skill set. They let learners react super quickly to what industry needs, especially in AI, big data, cloud, IoT, all those fourth industrial revolution areas.
So they're not trying to replace degrees.
No, not at all. They complement them. They offer a flexible, targeted way to keep learning throughout your career. Continuous learning, really.
And technology isn't just, delivering the learning, it's also validating it, right?
Mhm.
What's the most interesting tech application you're seeing there beyond just putting courses online?
Well, the online platforms themselves are huge, obviously. They remove the barriers of time and place. But the real innovation, I think, is in the certification, how the achievement is actually recorded and shared.
Okay, how so?
They're often issued as digital open badges. These are standardized digital credentials. They contain verifiable metadata who issued it, the assessment criteria, the specific skills learned.
Metadata, okay.
But what's really starting to make waves is blockchain technology.
Ah, blockchain. We hear about it everywhere. How does it apply to credentials specifically?
It's kind of a perfect match, actually.
Yeah.
Blockchain makes the credential incredibly secure. It prevents forgery, ensures it's stored permanently, can't be tampered with, and allows for instant verification.
So it tackles that trust issue head on.
Precisely. It addresses those concerns about whether a digital badge is real or trustworthy, especially for employers. It makes them much more robust.
So why are we focusing on South Korea for this? What makes it such fertile ground for this micro-credential revolution? Are there unique challenges there?
There definitely are. South Korea faces this kind of unique demographic squeeze. You've got a rapidly aging population, very low birth rates, and at the same time, a real shortage of skilled workers in these critical new tech sectors.
So it's an economic imperative almost.
Absolutely. Maintaining global competitiveness is a huge driver. It's seen as vital for the nation's future.
And the government isn't just watching this happen.
Oh no, far from it. The government is actively driving the shift. There's a really strong top-down emphasis on lifelong learning and rapid reskilling. It's a strategic response to these demographic and technological pressures.
Okay, let's bring back that framework you mentioned, TOEX. Just remind us quickly, what does it help us unpack here?
Right, TOEX. It combines the Standard Technology Organization Environment, or TOE framework, with institutional and signaling theories. It gives us this multi-layered view.
So TOE looks at the practical side.
Yeah, TOE covers technology, the digital infrastructure, the tech features themselves, organization, how ready are the universities, the companies, what resources do they have, And environment languages and stuff like government policy, market demand, competition, social trends.
And then the institutional and signaling layers add more nuance.
Exactly. Institutional theory helps us understand the rules, the norms, the pressure for legitimacy.
Hmm.
This is super important in Korea's educational system, which is quite hierarchical. Government policy, university prestige, these things carry huge weight.
And signaling.
Signaling theory looks at how these micro-credentials function in the job market. How do they signal skills to employers in a society that's very, very conscious of credentials?
That's a key distinction. Okay, let's apply TOEX to Korea. Technologically, what stands out?
Well, their digital infrastructure is a massive advantage. Things like KMOC, their national online course platform, plus strong university systems, corporate platforms like Hyundai's NGV campus, it's all there.
So the basic plumbing is solid.
Very solid.
Mhm.
High internet speeds, people are tech savvy. The barrier to just using these platforms is really low.
But are there still tech hurdles, even with
Mhm.
that foundation?
Oh, for sure. The big one, and this isn't unique to Korea, is interoperability. You earn a digital badge, but can you easily put it on your resume, your LinkedIn, in a way that any employer system can read and verify? That seamless sharing and authentication piece is still evolving.
Right. Makes sense. And organizationally, how are universities and companies actually changing to accommodate this?
We're seeing real structural shifts.
Yeah.
The government set up dedicated offices for microcredentials. Universities are creating specific departments focused on lifelong learning. It signals a serious commitment.
So it's not just an add-on.
No.
Yeah.
And success really depends on things like leadership buy-in, getting faculty involved in designing relevant courses, and having smooth administrative processes for issuing the credentials.
What about the external environment? What forces are pushing this forward?
The environment in Korea is incredibly supportive. You've got strong government backing, launching major programs like Match-Up, which we'll talk about. But universities are also motivated by, frankly, changing demographics. Fewer traditional students means they need to attract adult learners. And then there's competition from private training companies, global online platforms that spurs innovation too.
Let's dive deeper into that institutional theory aspect in Korea. How does a system that traditionally values, say, a degree from a top university adapt to these shorter, more focused credentials?
Yeah, this is where it gets really fascinating. Top Korean universities are exploring microcredentials. Why? Well, there's coercive pressure from government policies saying you should do this.
Okay.
There's normative pressure. It's becoming an expectation for modern universities. And there's mimetic pressure. They see successful models overseas and think, maybe we should try that.
Imitation, essentially.
Right. But for these to really stick, they need legitimacy. That means strong validation systems and, crucially, employer recognition. They need to be seen as truly valuable in that credential-conscious society.
Which brings us to signaling theory. If a degree from Seoul National University is the gold standard signal, how does a microcredential even get noticed? How does it cut through that noise?
That's the million-dollar question, isn't it?
Yeah.
Traditional degrees signal broad education, potential maybe. Microcredentials signal specific, ready-to-use skills. They're faster, cheaper.
More efficient signals?
Potentially, yes.
Yeah.
The challenge is building enough credibility so employers trust them as reliable indicators of competence. Can they stand alongside, or in some cases be even more useful than, that traditional degree signal? That's the ongoing evolution.
This framework really helps clarify the dynamics. Let's make it concrete. Tell us about the government's Match-Up program. What is it, and has it worked?
Match-Up was launched by the Ministry of Education back in 2018. It was a really big deal, a national flagship initiative. The goal was to offer microcredentials that were explicitly recognized by industry.
Signaling government backing right away.
Absolutely. That official stamp matters a lot.
And what fields did it target initially, and how did that evolve?
It started, as you'd expect, with those core Fourth Industrial Revolution fields,
Yeah.
AI, big data, IoT, smart factories.
Yeah.
But it expanded rapidly. By 2023, they were into really specialized areas like future car tech, medical metaverse, intelligent agriculture, even aerospace drones.
Wow, very specific. Shows agility.
Exactly. It shows they're trying to respond very quickly to where industry says the skill gaps are.
And who is this program for?
It's broad. College students, recent grads, people looking for jobs, but also people already working who need to upskill or pivot.
And the certification itself.
This is key. The certificates are jointly endorsed by the Ministry of Education and industry partners. It's a public-private certification. Government credibility meets industry relevance.
That sounds like a smart model. How's it done in terms of numbers?
The growth has been, frankly, explosive. You went from just 3 fields, 12 courses in 2018, to 19 fields and 116 courses by 2023.
Huge jump.
Massive. Cumulatively, over 150,000 people have participated. Annual enrollment went from under 5,000 in 2019 to over 51,000 per year in 22 and 23.
Impressive scale. What about completion rates? Often an issue for online courses.
That's another success story. The completion rate for Match-Up courses is over 50%, which, for online learning, especially non-mandatory learning, is remarkably high.
Okay, let's apply to OX to Match-Up. Technologically, what enabled this scale?
They smartly leveraged what they already had. The KMOC platform was already established, hosting hundreds of courses. They also built out the National Lifelong Learning Portal. So they integrated and built upon existing infrastructure rather than starting totally from scratch. Very efficient.
And organizationally, that public-private aspect.
That collaboration is central. Companies are involved in designing the curriculum, ensuring it teaches the competencies they actually need. The ministry provides the policy framework and direction. And the National Institute for Lifelong Education kind of manages the implementation, drawing on their KMOC experience.
What about the environmental and institutional factors? You mentioned government backing.
Crucially, the government actually amended laws, specifically the Act on Recognition of Credits. This created a formal legal basis for recognizing these microcredential outcomes within the education system.
Ah, so they embedded it legally.
Yes, providing that institutional foundation. And from a signaling perspective, a major win is that completing Match-Up courses can count as actual academic credit at several universities, Soonchunhang, Kwangwon, others. And it links into their academic credit bank system.
So it gains real academic weight.
Exactly. That validation is vital in Korea for building legitimacy and signaling value.
Okay, so Match-Up shows strong government leadership. But what happens when industry takes the lead? Tell us about the Hyundai NGV program.
Right, Hyundai NGV, it's an education and training company within the Hyundai Motor Group, set up back in 2012. Their whole focus is developing technical talent, especially for the future of the automotive industry. They're a great example of industry driving this.
Can you give us a specific example of what they do?
Sure. A good recent example is their collaboration with Gyeonggi Technopark on an electric vehicle, or EV, training program. It was targeted at people already working in automotive parts companies in that region, but also job seekers wanting to get into the field.
How did that specific program go?
Pretty well, it seems. In 2024, they ran 30 sessions across 5 courses. They had 343 applicants, 305 people completed it, and participant satisfaction was over 92%.
92% satisfaction is very high. How was the learning structured?
It followed a clear roadmap. It started with e-learning, some of which actually integrated Match-Up content, then moved to EV theory, and finally hands-on practice with key components: motors, power converters, battery systems.
Interesting mix. Did they see differences in who took which parts?
Yeah, the more basic tracks tended to have more job seekers, around 65%, but the advanced practical tracks, like the one on battery systems, had a much more even split, about half current employees, half job seekers.
Let's put Hyundai NGV under the TOEX lens now. Technology.
They use their own platform, the NGV campus. It's quite sophisticated, built for structured digital learning. The curriculum is modular, project-based, and integrates tools everybody in the industry uses: Python, MATLAB Simulink, Vector Canoe. And like others, they're looking into blockchain for certifications.
Makes sense for an engineering giant. Or organizationally.
This clearly stems from a strong strategic commitment by Hyundai Motor Group itself. They see talent development as key to future mobility. The courses are co-developed by their own engineers working alongside academic experts, and notably, they've expanded from just training their own staff to offering programs more broadly, contributing to the wider talent pool.
A kind of corporate social responsibility angle, too?
You could see it that way, yes.
Yeah.
Fostering social talent, environmentally and institutionally, it aligns perfectly with the government's extremely valuable, it appears. They act as very precise signals of specific, in-demand competencies. Completing these programs has led directly to better job prospects.
Like what?
Well, for instance, high performers might get exemptions from the initial screening when applying for jobs at Hyundai Motors itself. Others completing advanced cloud courses have landed internships at cloud companies. That kind of direct pathway is a powerful signal in a competitive market.
It really cuts through. Okay, connecting all these threads, Match-Up, Hyundai NGV. What are Korea's core strengths in making microcredentials work?
I'd say it's that potent mix. Their excellent digital infrastructure, really strong industry academia links, and very active supportive government policy. And they were smart. They leveraged existing platforms like KMOC effectively, efficient scaling.
But it can't all be smooth sailing. What are the persistent challenges? The growing pains?
Definitely still challenges. That lack of a truly universal system for authenticating digital credentials, the interoperability issue we mentioned, that's still a hurdle.
Getting everything to talk to each other.
Right. And getting wider employer recognition beyond the big players involved, plus deeper integration into the formal academic and vocational training systems, that's ongoing work, especially in such a credential-focused culture.
Any other friction points?
Some industry partners mentioned the administrative load of participating in these programs can be burdensome. So finding ways to streamline that engagement is important for keeping them involved long-term. And critically, ensuring these credentials align with international standards for quality and portability is key for global relevance.
So looking ahead, what's the path forward? What needs to happen next?
Well, continued coordination at the government level is crucial. Getting the Ministry of Education, Ministry of Employment, Ministry of Science and Tech all pulling in the same direction, integrating microcredentials fully into national qualification frameworks.
And technology-wise, what's on the horizon?
Huge potential there. Blockchain, as we discussed, for even better verification. And AI, imagine AI creating truly personalized learning paths based on your goals and skills gaps. Or AI tutors providing real-time support, even using AI to constantly adapt curricula based on live labor market data.
Wow, real-time adaptation. That's powerful. What about getting more companies involved beyond the Hyundais?
That's vital for sustainability. Creating an ecosystem where private sector participation, especially from small and medium-sized businesses, is encouraged and maybe incentivized. Moving beyond just government programs and large corporate initiatives to make it truly widespread.
So we've taken quite a journey through South Korea's micro-credential landscape. We've seen how technology, organization, the environment, plus those institutional and signaling pressures are all shaping this revolution.
From government initiatives like Match-Up to industry leaders like Hyundai NGV, it's clear the ground is shifting. They're developing these targeted, flexible ways to equip people with skills for a world that just won't stop changing.
This deep dive really shows how one nation is proactively trying to future-proof its workforce. It underscores the power of focused, adaptable learning pathways.
Absolutely. It's about agility and relevance in a dynamic global economy.
Okay, before we wrap up, here's something for you, our listener, to mull over. As we look ahead, think about this. How might the combination of micro-credentials and rapidly advancing AI agent technology fundamentally change things? Not just what we learn, but how we prove what we know and how we navigate our careers in this constantly shifting world.
Imagine learning journeys tailored just for you by AI, curricula that update themselves based on real-time job market needs, skills verified instantly, universally, maybe using blockchain.
What could that future look like for your career path? How might you acquire and demonstrate new knowledge in that world? Something to think about. We really hope this exploration of South Korea's micro-credential revolution has given you some valuable insights. Thanks for joining us on this deep dive.